So this next story could be compared to a diary of a mad black woman had a friend who was a root worker, which we know that movie would have been the bomb if she did. Now, Albert Jenkins had a wife named Luella, and he was a no-good man. Gambling, running around with women, and treating Luella like she was just a piece of furniture that he could shove around. But Luella wasn't the type of woman to fight, scream, or holler. As a matter of fact, she had her own way of taking care of things. See, Luella's grandmother taught her that there was no point in screaming at a man. You had to know how to get him the right way. So Luella had a friend who was a root worker who lived out past the marshes. And folks said Corinne could fix anyone or anything with just some herbs. Now, Corinne didn't do this often, but when she did, you knew it was serious. Now, Albert had been cheating on Luella for quite some time, and this ninja wasn't even sneaky about it. The women he was carrying on with would strut right past Luella in town and loudly talk about their man. But Luella never said a word. She'd just nod her head and keep on walking. But you could definitely see the hurt in her eyes. But one day, after a particularly nasty run-in with one of the women in town, Luella went home, put on her best Sunday dress, not to go to church, by the way, but to visit Miss Corinne. And that's when things got strange. A few weeks later, there was a big church picnic, and everyone was there, including Daddy and his two women. And while folks were sitting there laughing and cutting up, Miss Geneva decided she was going to stand up and spout off something about helping the pastor. But when she went to open her mouth, the foulest string of words passed through her lips. She was cussing and throwing insults enough to make the devil himself blush. Poor Geneva had to cover her mouth, but even then she couldn't stop. It was like her own tongue had turned against her. She got so upset she ran off into the woods. A few days later, Miss Delilah was at the market, and all of a sudden she started acting like a chicken, clucking, flapping her arms, and some even said she tried to peck the ground. The butcher had to drag her out of there because she was causing such a stir. And then there was Albert, and Lord, I felt so bad for him. He was playing cards with some friends one day at the general store, and he started shaking all of a sudden like he got struck by lightning. He stood up, grabbed his britches, and started singing the hymns. Very badly, mind you. Then he started doing the jig on top of it, and folks started laughing until they realized that he couldn't stop. Some of the men he was playing cards with had to carry him home. Albert went straight to Luella, dropped to his knees, and started begging for her forgiveness. Luella, I knowed you did something. I'm begging you, please take it off. I'll be a good man. I'll be a good husband. I promise. I swear to you, just make it stop. Luella looked at him just as calm as ever and said, I don't know what you're talking about, but maybe the Lord is trying to get you to change your ways. Albert sobbed like a baby, but Luella never let up. And you know what? She never took it off either. Those three lived the rest of their lives with the shame of what they had done. Geneva left town. Delilah moved to the woods because she couldn't stop pecking the ground. And Albert, well, he tried to be a good man, as good as possible. But he never did recover his dignity. Luella never had to raise her voice or her hands. She let the spirits take care of it instead.